But as I got back and I started to talk a lot with pastors and Christian leaders, many of whom had been in ministry or in work and in the church for a long time, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And many of the pastors had served the Lord faithfully for that long. They'd hit a wall and something had happened and they didn't know what to do next. And I came to this conclusion that many people were asking, well, is that all there is? And I began to try to encourage and coach them to get back in touch with that vital inner spirit that first brought them to faith and first brought them to the place where they wanted to serve God, and to refire, not retire. I was in the Garden of Eden, very lush and green. Could be like northern Kentucky, you know, going down through Kentucky or Cincinnati, Eden Park here. It was lush, it was watery, the flowers were blooming, the trees were powerful and big, and everything was lush, and there were many lakes around, and they were all full of water, and it was such a lovely place. And I was really taken by the beauty of it, and the freshness of it, and the growth, and the power of what was coming up from the ground. But all of a sudden, it seemed as though I was transferred into maybe Arizona or New Mexico. Everything dried up, and it was sandy, and it was dark, and it was brown, and nothing was flourishing. The flowers were drooping, and the trees were drooping. And somebody came up beside me and said, let me show you one of the lakes. The lakes used to be, high water was here, and you could see where the high water marks were, but now it was down at the bottom, the very bottom of that lake, and there was almost nothing left, and we were commiserating over the fact that the water was gone, the grass was gone, the trees and the flowers wasn't producing, and we were quite sad. And all of a sudden, the sun came out and glinted through this water, and we saw color, and wondered what that was at the bottom of this lake. Well, pretty soon, as can happen in dreams, you know, the water left, and we saw at the bottom of this lake this gorgeous, this beautiful artwork, piece of art of a dancing figure, probably an American Indian, but a dancing figure, really living life. And it would come from antiquity, obviously thousands of years ago, and it reminded me of the times I've been to Israel and saw the digs there where they dig down 20 feet deep and they discover this artwork that was made so long ago. And all of a sudden, I thought this would not have been discovered had the water not drained out, had there not been a drought. If it had remained green and enough water, you would never have seen this treasure that was at the bottom. I woke up and I thought, this is my talk to the people at Mason Christian Village. And what struck me was that passage that when I am weak, I am strong. When we are weak, then we go to the depth of what God has placed in us, which is the experience and the wisdom. And yes, we need to pass that baton to the next generation, from generation to generation, because Christianity is not a sprint. You have to keep passing the generation to the baton to that next generation. If you drop it, the race is pretty well lost. And the board of directors said, make this into a world-class institution. Well, who's going to go to Southern Illinois and teach? Nobody that knew anything was going to go down there, that's for sure. And Delight Morris decided he was going to do something unique. He was going to bring in cutting-edge creative thinkers in the arts and music and business and medicine and law to a teacher's college on Little Grassy Lake. And the way he did that was he sent the word out all over the country, all over the world, for people who were ready to retire age-wise, but still fired up, refiring. And he said, come to SIU, we'll build you a place, we'll give you a place that you can teach or share, work with the younger generation. If that's all you want to do, we don't care what you teach, we don't care what the form is. Just come and use your intellect and your heart to touch the next generation. These people gave me ideas that allowed me to escape from that trap of a little bubble, of a small vision. And it was a wonderful thing. That's really what I want to do. I want to do that in the Christian realm.